In the world of wealthy elites, my marriage with Ernest Jordy was considered a breath of fresh air. That's because there's an unspoken rule among the rich. Husbands are allowed to keep mistresses. But I, Catherine Julian, nicknamed Kathy, was born ruthless. I would never tolerate betrayal. Once, at a banquet, Ernest praised a female celebrity's beauty. I immediately leaked her scandals online, forcing her to quit the entertainment industry. When a female employee at his company tried to seduce him, I called in reporters for a live broadcast exposing her disgrace. People started calling me a savage. From then on, anyone who saw Ernest would avoid him like the plague. In mistress circles, there was even a saying, there are countless rich men, but none worth ruining your reputation over, especially not Ernest Jordy. But I never expected someone to be bold enough to become Ernest's mistress. So when Ernest asked for a divorce for the sake of Chloe Christie, I was momentarily stunned. Seeing my silence, Ernest nervously tugged at his tie and said, "Kathy, I'm being forced into this. Chloe is pregnant and demanding marriage. If the media finds out, it'll affect the company's stock price." As my gaze turned cold, Ernest grew more anxious and quickly added, "As long as you agree to the divorce, I'll give you whatever you want, even half the company's shares." I raised an eyebrow. "So you're marrying her for the company?" Seeing my tone soften, Ernest's eyes flickered. "Yes. Kathy, trust me. You're the one I truly love. Once she gives birth, I'll divorce her and remarry you." I didn't respond. The room fell silent. Just as Ernest's patience was running out, I chuckled and said, "I'll consider it." Ernest sighed in relief, visibly relaxed. "I'll have the lawyer draft the divorce papers." All of Chloe Christie's information was sent to my phone. She was a fresh college graduate who got fired on her second day of internship at Jordy Corp for making a mistake, or so it seemed. In reality, Ernest Jordy had secretly kept her as a mistress. Once I found out, she was dismissed and hidden away in a villa. I brought bodyguards to the villa and found Chloe enjoying a massage. I took her straight to the hospital. When the pregnancy test confirmed she was indeed pregnant, Chloe proudly lifted her belly and said, "Miss Julian, as you can see, I'm pregnant. Ernest promised to divorce you and marry me. Be smart and give up your place as Mrs. Jordy." I turned to the doctor. "Schedule a procedure. Terminate the pregnancy." The doctor checked the schedule. "We can do it now." Chloe's smugness vanished, replaced by panic. "Catherine Julian, are you insane? That's Ernest's child. If you do this, he'll never forgive you." Before she could finish, my bodyguards covered her mouth and dragged her into the operating room. 20 minutes later, the doctor came out holding a bloody mass of tissue. Leaving the hospital, I stopped by the mall and bought a beautiful gift box. When Ernest handed me the divorce papers, he said, "Honey, if there's anything you're unhappy with, I'll have the lawyer revise it." I didn't even look at the papers. Instead, I asked, "You said you were marrying Chloe for the company, right?" Ernest hadn't expected me to find out about Chloe so quickly. His expression shifted, but quickly steadied. "The company is competing for several major projects. If people find out I have an illegitimate child, it'll damage our image." He held my hand, eyes full of affection. "Kathy, I know this hurts you. I'll make it up to you." I smiled. "No need to wait. I've already taken care of it. You don't have to worry about an illegitimate child anymore." Ernest froze. "You mean, you agreed to the divorce?" I didn't answer. Instead, I pushed the gift box toward him. "Open it. I prepared a surprise for you." Ernest hesitated for 2 seconds, then opened the box. A pungent stench burst out. Seeing the contents, he gagged. "What is this?" "It's disgusting." I grinned. "Darling, that's Chloe's baby. I had it terminated. Now you don't have to worry." Ernest's head spun. "You mean that bloody mess is her child?" I nodded. "I personally took her to the hospital. Watched the doctor remove it. I even wrapped the box myself, just for you." Ernest vomited. Truly vomited. The stench filled the room. His eyes turned red, and he slapped me. "Catherine Julian, you're a monster. I want a divorce." My face turned cold. As he turned to leave, I grabbed a vase and smashed it over his head. Ernest looked at me in disbelief before collapsing. When he woke up, he was tied spread-eagle to a table. I put on gloves and picked up a freshly sharpened knife. Ernest tried to curse, but when he saw the knife, he choked. "Kathy, what are you doing?" I spoke calmly. "Just a little surgery." I pulled down his pants and opened a tablet playing a video on how to castrate a boar. The pig's screams echoed through the room. Ernest nearly lost his mind. "Kathy, you're insane. Don't do this." I traced the knife across his skin. Don't worry. It's my first time, but I'll make it clean and pretty. I've realized rather than dealing with mistresses, it's better to deal with you. Cut the problem at its root. Don't you agree? Ernest sobbed. I was wrong. I'll never do it again. Chloe seduced me. I didn't mean to. I smiled. Aren't you worried that losing your manhood will affect the company's image? Ernest shook his head desperately. Chloe is just a plaything. Losing that would hurt the company more. I laughed. So you do understand. Too bad, it's too late. Just as the knife touched him, he fainted from fear. I scoffed. And you dared to cheat? I splashed water on him to wake him up. Realizing he was still intact, Ernest cried with joy and swore he'd never betray me again. He broke up with Chloe, gave me half the company's shares, and became a model husband, working by day, staying home by night, avoiding women like the plague. But I knew he hadn't given up. I smelled Chloe's perfume on him. I checked the hidden surveillance in his office. Chloe, who should have been banished, was there, just after a deep kiss with Ernest. She leaned into him. Ernest, have you thought about what I said? Send Catherine somewhere remote. Then we won't have to sneak around. Ernest hesitated. Are you sure she won't come back? Chloe nodded. Once she's in that mountain village, unless she grows wings, she'll never return. Just make her take the drug. I'll handle the rest. Ernest steeled himself. Fine. Let's do it. A few days later was our third wedding anniversary. Ernest Jordy gave all the servants the day off and came home early to cook for me. He placed a bowl of chicken soup in front of me. Kathy, I made this soup just for you. Try it. I didn't look at the soup. Instead, I picked up the red wine on the table. Didn't you always love this vintage? I bought it at an auction. Let's have a toast first. Ernest tried to stop me. Drink the soup first. It won't taste good cold. I glanced at the steaming bowl. The color looked off. You didn't put anything you shouldn't in here, did you? Ernest panicked and forced a smile. Kathy, what are you saying? I'd never do that. I pushed the bowl toward him. Then you drink it. Seeing I wouldn't drink, Ernest gritted his teeth and picked it up. If you're worried, I'll drink it first. Just as he was about to take a sip, I smiled and took the bowl back. I was teasing. You made this for me, I'll drink it. Under Ernest's expectant gaze, I drank the soup in one gulp. Moments later, dizziness overtook me. My vision blurred and I collapsed onto the table. Ernest called my name. When I didn't respond, his face lit up with excitement. Chloe, come out. Kathy's unconscious. Chloe Christie emerged from the servants' quarters. Seeing me truly unconscious, she burst into tears of joy. Catherine Julian, you arrogant bitch. You dared to abort my child. Now you're in my hands, I'll make you wish you were dead. Ernest urged her, forget that for now. Where's the guy? Chloe wiped her tears. I just called him. He'll be here in half an hour. Ernest frowned. That long? What if Kathy wakes up? Don't worry. I bought this drug specially. Even an elephant would sleep for a day. Kathy won't wake until she's already at her new husband's place. Chloe's eyes gleamed with malice. Just imagining Kathy being trafficked to a remote village, locked in a pigsty to bear children for an old man, thrilled her. Ernest relaxed. Then we wait. Chloe looked at the feast on the table. Are all the dishes drugged? I'm starving. Only the soup. The rest is clean. They sat down and began eating heartily. Ernest picked up the wine. Kathy would never guess that the wine I bought to celebrate our anniversary would be used to celebrate her disappearance. Chloe laughed. They finished the bottle quickly. But soon, Chloe clutched her stomach. Ernest, does your stomach hurt? Ernest also doubled over. The pain intensified. They rolled on the floor, foaming at the mouth. Ernest realized something was wrong. He looked at the wine bottle. The wine. Kathy poisoned it. He tried to call an ambulance, but Chloe stopped him. The guy's almost here. What about Kathy? Ernest hesitated, but another wave of pain hit. He vomited blood and chunks of flesh. Chloe followed suit. Panicked, Ernest called for help. The ambulance arrived and rushed all three of us to the hospital. When I woke up, I was surrounded by doctors. Seeing me awake, they cheered. Mrs. Jordy, you're finally awake. Your husband drank pesticide and is in critical condition. We need your signature. I remained calm. Is his life in danger? The doctor was stunned by my composure. He's had his stomach pumped, but the poison damaged his organs. One kidney is failing. We need to remove it to save him. I nodded. Give me a pen. The doctor handed me the consent form. I didn't even look at it. I want to sign a DNR, do not resuscitate. The doctor froze. You mean, you want to give up treatment? But he can be saved with a kidney removal. I replied coldly, Ernest is the man I love most. I can't bear to see him suffer without a kidney. Better to let him go now. The doctors were speechless. They'd seen desperate families cling to hope. But someone giving up when survival was possible? That was a first. They tried to persuade me, but I interrupted. I'm his wife. I have the right to decide. Just then, a nurse rushed in. The patient woke up. He wants to sign himself. The doctors abandoned me and returned to the operating room. Half an hour later, the nurse informed me that Ernest and Chloe had their kidneys removed in time and survived. I sneered. Lucky them. The day I was discharged from the hospital, I made a point to visit Ernest Jordy and Chloe Christie's hospital room. When they saw me, their faces twisted with hatred. Catherine Julian, what are you doing here? Ernest growled. I clicked my tongue. Just checking in. How does it feel to be missing a kidney? My words made their wounds ache. Ernest's face contorted. Catherine, I'm going to report you for attempted murder. Because of you, I lost a kidney. You'll rot in prison. Chloe joined in, cursing me viciously. You bitch. I'll never forgive you. I smiled at their fury. Perfect. I was thinking of reporting you too as well. Guess how many years you'll get for attempted human trafficking? Their expressions changed instantly. Ernest tried to stay calm. Don't make baseless accusations. When did we ever try to traffic you? I pulled out my phone and played the surveillance footage. Everything from the previous night was recorded. Their faces turned ghostly pale. Ernest stammered, when did you install cameras? I looked at him with disdain. Knowing you two were plotting against me, did you think I wouldn't prepare? I installed cameras in every corner of the house, no blind spots. I even had someone monitoring them. If anything happened to me, help would arrive immediately. Chloe sneered. Even if we did plan something, it didn't succeed. But you drugged us, that's undeniable. Ernest caught on. She's right. You poisoned us. You're going to jail. I explained patiently. That bottle of wine was delivered by the auction house yesterday. I didn't touch it until dinner. So there's no proof I poisoned it. Ernest's lips trembled. You planned this all along. You bought that wine years ago, didn't you? I raised an eyebrow. Impressive. You figured it out. 3 years ago, when Ernest first kept a mistress, I bought that bottle and had someone secretly lace it with poison. I never retrieved it, just left it at the auction house, waiting for the right moment. If I ever killed Ernest, that wine would be my perfect alibi. But I wouldn't admit that now. I smiled. Too bad I didn't. Before Ernest could respond, chaos erupted outside. My bodyguard entered. Ma'am, a crowd of reporters is outside asking for an interview. Ernest was already in a foul mood and didn't want to see anyone. But the reporters weren't backing down. They pushed past the guards and stormed into the room. Seeing the three of us together, their eyes lit up and cameras clicked nonstop. Mr. Jordy, you called an ambulance late last night. What happened? Why were you, Mrs. Jordy, and Miss Christie all hospitalized together? Yesterday was your wedding anniversary. Why was Miss Christie present? Ernest's face darkened. He tried to say no comment, but the microphones surrounded him. Chloe's bed was also swarmed. Miss Christie, were you assaulted by Mrs. Jordy? Will you press charges? Chloe covered her ears and screamed, Stop asking. I don't know anything. When they got nothing from her, the reporters turned to Ernest. A few tried to interview me, but I simply said, let Mr. Jordy explain. Instantly, all attention shifted to Ernest. He gritted his teeth. It was food poisoning. I cooked dinner for our anniversary, but something wasn't properly prepared. That's all. He was grateful the hospital kept patient info confidential. If the media found out he lost a kidney, he couldn't imagine the fallout. But the reporters weren't convinced. If it was your anniversary, why was Miss Christie there too? Ernest's face darkened further. She came to apologize to my wife. Chloe caught his cue and chimed in, yes, I regret ruining their marriage. I came to apologize. I hadn't hidden the fact that I forced Chloe to abort her child, so the reporters knew what kind of apology she meant. They looked at her with disgust. You showed up on their anniversary to apologize? Sounds more like provocation. Chloe's face burned with shame. Then I added, you apologized? I didn't hear it. All eyes turned to Chloe again. She glanced at Ernest, who ignored her. Hatred flashed in her eyes. If you didn't hear it, I'll say it again. Catherine Julian, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have ruined your marriage. Her palms bled from how hard she was clenching them. I smiled. Since you're sincere, I'll generously forgive you for being a homewrecker. Lucky for you, it was me. If you'd messed with someone else, you might have been beaten to death. I repeated homewrecker again and again, making Chloe nearly faint from rage. Ernest couldn't take it anymore. He called the bodyguards to drive the reporters out. Once the room was quiet, Ernest snapped, "Catherine, do you know what your words just did to Chloe? Everyone will see her as a homewrecker now." I sneered. Did I lie? Or is she not a homewrecker? Chloe's eyes were swollen from crying. I felt no guilt. If she cared about her reputation, she wouldn't have become a mistress. Ernest was speechless, but his eyes burned with hatred. Chloe looked ready to devour me. I smiled. "Ernest, just a reminder, if you don't behave, you might lose more than a kidney next time." Ernest's face turned pale. "What do you mean?" I glanced at his waist. "Nothing. Just saying, this time it was a kidney. What about next time?" Seeing their terrified expressions, I left the room feeling refreshed. After that incident, Ernest Jordy was truly terrified. As soon as he was discharged from the hospital, he broke up with Chloe Christie and, despite her protests, forcibly sent her back to her hometown. At home, he behaved like the perfect husband, obedient and attentive. Just when I thought Ernest had finally changed, my parents returned to the country. My brother had been doing business abroad, and shortly after Ernest and I got married, my parents went to join him. This time, they came back because they saw news reports about Chloe. The media said she had shown up on my wedding anniversary to provoke me and ended up hospitalized with Ernest due to food poisoning. My parents must have imagined the worst. They rushed back to support me. On the day they arrived, Ernest was supposed to come with me to pick them up at the airport. But something came up at the last minute, so I went alone. As soon as we got on the highway, I sensed something was wrong. I told the driver to pull over, but instead of stopping, he sped up. The driver was sweating. "Miss, the brakes aren't working." My heart sank. I immediately called the police, but before they could arrive, I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. My parents and Ernest were at my bedside. My mother wept with joy. "Thank goodness, Kathy, you're finally awake. You've been unconscious for 3 days." I tried to move, but my lower body felt nothing. A wave of dread washed over me. "What happened to me?" I asked. My mother hesitated, wiping her tears. After I pressed her, she finally told me I was paralyzed from the waist down. Ernest looked heartbroken. "Kathy, don't be sad. No matter what happens, I'll always stay by your side." I was dazed. I tried moving my toes, nothing. No sensation at all. A month later, I was discharged. My parents wanted to stay and take care of me, but I refused. Ernest quickly added, "Don't worry, I'll take good care of Kathy. I've hired a professional rehabilitation therapist. She'll start therapy as soon as we get home." Hearing that, my parents relented. But the moment we returned home, Ernest's face changed. I saw Chloe Christie again. My expression turned cold. "Why is she here?" Ernest replied calmly, "Chloe is the therapist I hired. She'll be in charge of your recovery." Chloe smiled and took the wheelchair from Ernest. "Don't worry, Miss Julian. I'll take good care of you." My heart sank. I didn't need to ask, I knew they were up to no good. All the familiar servants in the villa had been dismissed. The new ones all listened to Ernest and Chloe. Ernest even took away my phone, forbidding me from contacting the outside world. At mealtime, Chloe threw the food on the floor. "Time to eat, Miss Julian." I clenched my fists. "Chloe, don't go too far." She smirked. "This is for your own good. More movement helps with recovery." Ernest added with a fake smile, "Chloe's doing this for you. Eat up." I stared at them, unmoving. Chloe sneered. "You still think you're the high and mighty Mrs. Jordy? You're just a cripple now. You'll never walk again. This is all you get. Eat it or starve." I looked at the food on the floor, took a deep breath, and crawled from the wheelchair. I picked up the food and shoved it into my mouth, one bite at a time. Ernest and Chloe burst into laughter. "Catherine Julian, look at you now." Chloe cackled. "This is karma for aborting my child. Even the heavens couldn't stand you." From that day on, they tormented me daily, making me bark like a dog, dumping cold water on me, laughing at my misery. 3 months passed. I showed no signs of recovery. One day, Ernest threw divorce papers in my face. "A vicious woman like you doesn't deserve to be my wife." I looked up at him. "I won't sign. I, Catherine Julian, only accept widowhood, not divorce." Ernest sneered. "Fine. Don't sign. But don't regret it." A sense of dread crept over me. "What are you planning?" Chloe laughed. "We've arranged a nice mental hospital for you. If you don't sign, you'll live there forever. And don't expect your parents to save you. Ernest is your husband. As long as he doesn't agree, You'll never be released. I was in disbelief. You're going to lock me in a mental hospital? Ernest smirked. You brought this on yourself. I paused, then slowly raised my head. If you're so heartless, then I won't hold back either. Chloe mocked me. You're a cripple. What can you do to us? I smiled. Then, under their stunned gazes, I stood up and walked a few steps. Ernest looked like he'd seen a ghost. You were faking it. Why? I didn't answer. How long has it been since you entered the company? Do they still trust you? Ernest looked confused. But soon, he found out. The company's shares had been secretly acquired. The largest shareholder had changed. Ernest was ousted. On the day I took over, Ernest's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Before he could ask anything, the police arrived and arrested him for attempted murder. Chloe was taken too. Only then did they realize what had happened. I had been preparing all along. When I learned they tampered with the car, I staged the paralysis. While Ernest tortured me at home, my parents helped me acquire company shares. With the shares he gave me, I became the majority shareholder. When Ernest and Chloe were sentenced to 15 years in prison, I had full control of Geordie Corp. Less than 3 years later, Ernest Geordie was beaten to death in prison during a fight. As his legal wife, I naturally inherited all of his assets. As for Chloe Christie, she was diagnosed with cancer while serving her sentence. She died in less than 2 years. On the day she passed away, I officially rebranded Geordie Corp as Mingzhu Group and led it into the ranks of the global Fortune 500.